Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Super Funny, also Infinite Blessings. The cards that we are pulling this morning on this Thankful Thursday, I'm using the Vision Quest tarot cards or tarot deck. And I was guided this morning when I woke up to use them in the pattern of a medicine wheel, which having worked with Grandpa Black Elk for so long, the medicine wheel has a lot of different applications, connotations, depending on what nation you are talking with, their beliefs, their histories, and so forth. We always want to be careful of making blanket statements when it comes to saying that something is Native American or indigenous, just because there are minimum 700 different nations within the United States alone. So a lot of times, people make that statement, oh, the Native American medicine wheel. This particular medicine wheel, the teachings that I was raised with are more Plains tradition, specifically Lakota. So it's always good when you're learning traditions to, approach from a place of respect. Find elders that honor the masculine and feminine equally, because you're always going to get the well-rounded teachings that way. Grandpa would always talk about the difference between old medicine and ancient medicine. Old medicine sometimes has a tendency to be too top heavy with patriarchal energy. Ancient medicine is always coming from a place, again, where it honors masculine and feminine, or as we say, the male and female mysteries equally. And, we all have the masculine, feminine within ourselves. So, it's a individual, it's a personal journey. But it's always best, sometimes you can learn things from books. You have to follow your heart, your intuition in that way. But it's always best to have a physical teacher if possible. Many of the nation's first names, equate to the people, Lakota, Dene, because, the learning wasn't just in the speaking, it was in the doing. It was gathering the wood for the Inepier Sweat Lodge, helping with the cooking, things like that. Things were passed that way. So when we're talking about just, basic elements of the medicine wheel here, it's interesting that the card we pulled for yesterday, the Four of Earth, Security, is the anchor card in this wheel. So the way that I was taught, we always start in the east because that's where the sun rises. That's where we're bringing clarity. So the eastern direction is about families and children specifically. The card that we're pulling, I did this spread specifically for the Mercury retrograde, or Mercury in Gatorade, as the ancestors are cracking jokes here, just because it is really important to stay hydrated with this Mercury retrograde. Those of you who didn't watch my video that I did yesterday, feel free to go back and watch that. So Mercury is the planet of communication, and when it is in retrograde, it usually signifies, delays and things like that in communication. It just means, being more mindful of how you're approaching people, how you're approaching situations, being mindful, signing any kind of contract, looking at, how do you call it, fine print, things like that. But this particular card here, we're starting the medicine wheel in the east, and this card is what's equated. It's the 10 of water. It's fulfillment. And in the traditional tarot cards, it's equated to the 10 of cups. So it's like emotion flowing, and it's also love. So what they're saying is that the clarity through this retrograde is going to come from letting your emotions flow from a place of love. Basically, if it's not love, it's all illusion. All roads lead to love. Love always wins. The sacred always trumps, transcends, and transforms the profane. So you may feel yourself more emotional, especially in regards to personal connections. with this retrograde. So the retrograde technically started on the 30th of January, and I believe it's going until the 23rd of February. So yeah, we are in Mercury retro with Valentine's Day this year. And I don't normally, holidays are holidays. To me, it's kind of like a Hallmark holiday. But a lot of people, they hang out with their significant others, twin flames that are in separation, which to me is just preparation. I tend to feel it, especially in the age of Aquarius, because the Aquarian ideal is loving self, loving others, with strong and appropriate boundaries also. So, yeah, the emphasis is on love. And, first off, loving yourself, because if you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. So, to me, it starts with feeling the love from the ancestors. If you see the waterfall, it's coming from source. That rainbow is telling us the storm has passed. It's a promise of healing, new beginnings for the good of all. 2020 was like our storm, and then now we get that rainbow. 10 can also be significant of Wheel of Fortune. So a relationship or something that you thought would never heal, you get a second chance, to see it and heal it in a good way. And if you see that water, it's just naturally cascading from the top of the mountain all the way down into a healing pool that is calm enough to see your true reflection. So there's going to be a lot of reflections on relationships, particularly the ones where, the connection was conditional. Especially when you're looking at, soulmate interaction, you're looking at twin flame interaction, the healing is in realizing that we've always been worthy of unconditional love. The fact that this card is coming up in the Eastern direction, it can also speak to the inner child. So hugging your inner child, allowing yourself to play, not taking things too serious. So from there, we go into the southern direction, which is about foundational love. So it's not necessarily interpersonal love, but it's the foundation. We are all here as a miracle. The minute conception happens, it's a miracle. And, every child born into this world is greater hope for better tomorrows today. So this Four of Earth that we got yesterday is just telling us, that, people are listening to the message from yesterday and putting themselves in the center of that medicine wheel so that even the energies that, like a whirlwind kind of run outside that tend to happen with Mercury retrograde, it's like you're in a sanctuary, you're protected, you're in the center, you're praying, not just for yourself, but for others. In a good way. And 4 is always a number of foundation. It's also the number of unions and reunions. So you may very well, sometimes Mercury retro can bring exes back from the past that you hadn't expected to hear from. And what happens with that is that it's not there to beat yourself up. I should have, I would have, I could have. It's there to show you how far you've come, So no matter what other people are going through, there's a lot of people right now that are still adjusting to the energy shifting from 2020 to 2021 and Age of Aquarius. So just focusing on your personal journey. 3 plus 3 is 6, so is 4 plus 2. So we all get there how we need to get there. As long as people aren't hurting themselves, hurting somebody else, let them find their journey. There's no such thing as good or bad. There's healed people and wounded people. So the more that we work on healing ourselves, the more that we can help other people that are wounded when they're ready to heal. So from the southern direction, we're going to the west. The west is our ancestral connection. So the ancestors are telling us right now that if we don't limit, Tunkashla, as we say, our creator, the universe isn't going to limit us. So it's talking about fields of plenty. It's talking about looking at the seeds that we planted in 2020. They're now starting to sprout. Spring is just around the corner. Ace of Earth is also the Ace of Pentacles, so it is tangible. We started with emotion, and then we went to more the four, which is tangible. But Ace is like winning the lottery. It's getting that bonus that you weren't expecting, but you earned. You put the hard work, you did things in a good way. And then when we get to the northern direction is about wisdom. So it's applying everything that you've learned. So it's not just understanding it yourself, working through the emotion, loving yourself, letting the ancestors help you, but you're coming to the northern direction where you understand that wisdom well enough that you're able to share it with others to help them. And what's interesting is that, we have the water card here, we have the earth, and then at the top, we have fire. So looking at this card here, in this deck, it's called the Daughter of Fire. So fire is corresponding with wands in traditional tarot cards, but fire can illuminate or it can destroy. If you see here, this young woman is holding a traditional abalone shell with sage in there, and she's offering up prayers. So the fire is what connects with the plant people, with the sage, the medicine, and sends up with the smoke. So it's fire, but it's also air, which means that we have all four elements represented here: earth, air, water, and fire. And this young woman is offering up those prayers. So she's not holding on to them, she's offering them up in faith. And you can see in the background, the sun is rising or setting. There's a purple representation of an eagle or a hawk. Could be a wakion, which is the thunder beings. And, purple is the ribbon for prevention of domestic violence because it's the honoring of the masculine and feminine equally. So, she's offering this up from a place of purity, from a place of innocence, reminding us that no matter what we've been through, I mean, we've all been through challenges, tribulations, tests, rite of passage, especially through 2020. And, she's reminded that, no matter what she's been through, what's around her, that seems like it's out of balance or what have you, picking up those good medicines and offering up those prayers in a good way is, kind of like hitting that reset button. It's like reconnecting yourself with the sacred. It's reminding yourself that you come from a sacred place, you're here for a sacred purpose. My grandpa used to say that those times that we don't feel worthy to handle sacred medicine and offer up our prayers are the times when we need to do it the most. So, she's kind of pushing past whatever's going on that doesn't make sense, reaching for the one thing that does make sense, which is that sacred medicine that has withstood the test of time. All of us come from a place of indigenous wisdom. No matter if your ancestors are from Argentina or Zimbabwe, they all had sacred connection with the earth that helped them through the toughest times when all else failed, and usually it was their first resource that they reached for, the connection with the earth, the connection with the plant people, the connection with the stars. So, one of the easiest ways to offer up your prayers is to burn some sage. Even if you don't know what to say, there are prayers that you can learn. The most powerful prayer that I was taught is Mitakuye Ayase, because it's a prayer for all life, past, present, and future in one breath. When we look here at the center of the wheel, we have grandfather, as we say, Tunkashala. So in the Lakota tradition, we don't say, sometimes you say creator, but we have Wakantanka, which is the great mystery, and then we have Tunkashla, which is grandfather. Because theoretically, when you're growing up, your grandmother, your grandfather, they're the ones that you should be able to turn to for unconditional love and for wisdom, or elders that have healed themselves, that are walking that path. Just because someone is an elder doesn't mean that they don't have issues they're working through. Sometimes they forget what it was like to be young, that sort of thing. But part of being human is that we continue to learn, we continue to teach, we continue to grow up until the day that we lay down our robe and we go home. So if you look at this card, it's beautiful because, again, you have the sunset or the sunrise. And you not only have Tunkashla, which is grandfather with the staff, so it's kind of the ancestral support, but it's illustrated. It's leaning on that staff. It's leaning on those ancient teachings, But you also have buffalo there, and buffalo or tatanka is clearing the obstacles. So clearing the obstacles and bringing in the abundance that we need to walk our path as warriors, healers, teachers, parents, everybody who is going forward in a good way, clearing the way, healing the way for the good of Mother Earth and all her children. So yesterday, the grandfather card was up on my Instagram, and the message that I got was earning your feathers. So, in the ancient way, feathers weren't just given to someone. They didn't just go and pick them up wherever. For the most part, it was earned. And it was a symbol of not only the eagle or the hawk or what have you, seeing that person is worthy to carry that medicine, but it was a, how do you call it? Like a rite of passage, a symbol from, the elders or grandparents that, somebody was working in a good way, not just for themselves, but for the good of their people, for the good of the earth, that kind of thing. So if you look at this representation of the grandfather holding the staff, studying himself, continuing on his path, opening doors for the younger generations, teaching the wisdom, and then you have the buffalo next to him, not just clearing the way, but also as a sacred companion. So it's like mutual recognition, mutual respect, but you also have those eagle feathers, so eagle medicine. And buffalo energy is very grounding. I myself have been blessed to spend time with the sacred white buffalo herd that was down in Arizona and do ceremony with Miracle Moon. And that buffalo right there looks kind of tiny compared to Tunkashla, but it makes me smile because Grandpa taught that a lot of times we put little in front of our name, little eagle, little hawk, that sort of thing. And you'll see these people that are like 6 foot whatever, and they're little buffalo or little storm or what have you. And it's a respect, because Wakantanka is the great mystery. So it's a respect, using little. It's like humbling or respect. So it's kind of cute that you got the buffalo and you got the elder standing side by side. So they're helping each other, they're guiding each other, they're using their senses in a respectful way. They're trusting that, making the most of each day. When that sun goes down, they can feel good that they made the most of that day, and knowing the best is yet to come when the sun rises on the next day. So when we look at this medicine wheel here, we've got grandfather in the center. Again, we all have male, female, so it's kind of the embodiment, grandfather, grandmother energies, the wisdom of the elders, the wisdom of the ancients. Sometimes right now, we're separated from our loved ones. We can always put our left hand on our heart and we feel instantly connected to our ancestors, to the rhythm of life, to the drum, taking our shoes, putting our feet with the earth, saying thank you for all of the natural medicines and wisdom that we have. is always a good thing. It's funny because you can see the reflection of the clock in the glass. And I was told to do the reading from here because Mercury retrograde is about reflection. So it's funny that clock you see in the background is all different birds. So when it goes off on the hour, you hear the different birds. So they're all included in this reading too. But good medicine is good medicine. So sometimes when I do readings for people, I've been working with cards for about 20 years. And I'll be doing readings and, crow will pop up or hawk or something. And, they'll go outside and there's crows everywhere or they find a hawk feather or. So don't be surprised, throughout your day. Even something, kind of funny, somebody offers you corn or somebody gifts you with a stone that says hope on it, or you see a rainbow in your water. The sacred is everywhere. And like I said yesterday, sometimes people feel scared with all this hojy pojy going on in the world right now. But when you walk, excuse me, my coffee's getting to me. When you walk in a good way, and you walk, I know people say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but if the road to hell is paved with good intentions, the road to heaven is paved with even more, and, whether you see heaven as an actual place or, you're just helping to heal the earth and make this earth a more heavenly place, more power to you. So, if you need that prayer, Matakwe Ayase, I tell people, somebody tries to run over your beliefs, you can use that to bring yourself back to center. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you can use that to center yourself. Somebody's hurting halfway around the world, you don't know what else to say, Matakwe Ayase, So, I mean, these are just the teachings that I've been blessed, to some of it I was raised with, some of it was later in my life, working with elders with the American Indian movement, working with Tibetan elders and so forth. And, some people say, oh, you can't combine this, that, and the other. But in my case, the elders I've worked with have given me different names, passed their teachings with love. So, when I'm guided to share different parts of their teachings, they know that it's coming from a place of love. And, I share it from my heart, trusting and knowing it reaches you guys in your heart. I'm happy to be doing this channel. I feel honored and blessed to be doing this channel, to be helping you guys. If, the medicines are helping you, ancestors are cracking a joke right now, because I know a lot of people, they put their PayPal on here to bring in energies. My grandma was always, because grandma grew up in Rosebud, a teepee with a dirt floor. And so she's always telling me, baby girl, if you were back in the day as a seer, you'd have your own teepee and people would be bringing you food. Oh, you can see Hurley in the background. And she says, but in this day and age, you got to have, reciprocity for what you're doing. So, she was always saying, make sure you leave the door open for donations, because then Tunkashla can touch people's hearts, whatever they're donating, so you can continue to help others. So grandma was pretty eloquent. Whoever the ancestor is right now, they're making me laugh, because they're saying if people have money to wet their whistle and trim their thistles, then they've got money to donate $5 or $10 or what have you, so I can keep offering services to veterans and so forth on a sliding scale. I love my ancestors, and that might be you guys' ancestors too. So, bottom line with this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, keep yourself in the center of the medicine wheel. Sometimes you get people that are like little hamsters, they want to run along the outside and you kind of hear this noise like, drives you crazy and can feel distracting. So, just keep yourself in the center of that wheel. If you have any questions, or you need to reach out, this is a safe space. Don't feel like, oh, I don't know what that word is, or, oh, I learned something different, or what have you. As long as it's coming from your heart, you know, you're going to be received in a good way. And like I said in my introduction video, whatever I can do to answer your questions, I will. If I don't have answers to the questions, then I'm going to do my best to refer you to an integral elder who can. You know, once again, my channel here is super funny, is how it started out. But it's infinite blessings, just because I'm sending infinite blessings out to you guys and bringing infinite blessings in to Get Up North, so that my daughter and I can open a Reiki sanctuary, foster kids and animals too. We used to run animal rescue and homeless shelter before, so we have a lot of experience, and we promised Grandma Agnes that we would get up there to help as soon as possible. So we know that prayers and donations and our ancestors are all opening the way at the speed of transcendent love and light. So I will be posting again very soon. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night, whatever the case may be. Know that I'm hugging you all with my prayers, and I'm here however I can help you piece the rest and best together. So namaste, optimistic, and mitakuye yase.